Gang, and welcome once again to the Duct Tape Studios. I'm Jeff McAleer, your host here at the Gaming Gang channel. Thanks for joining me once again. Spooky September continues, as today I will be reviewing Delta Green, God's Teeth from Arc Dream Publishing. This is written by Caleb Stokes with artwork provided by Dennis Detwiller. This 264-page hardcover with PDF is available now. It carries an MSRP of $49.99. Or if you just want to grab the PDF alone, you can do that over at DriveThruRPG for $24.99. All that said, let's swing on over to the other camera because here I've got God's Teeth for Delta Green. Few things to mention before we get stuck in. First of all, my friends over at Arc Dream Publishing were kind enough to provide me with this review copy, but neither I nor anyone else affiliated with the Gaming Gang has received any other sort of compensation for me to share this review with you. These days, it's very important you know that. We're also not going to look at each and every page of the book, but I do want to give you a very good feel for what you're going to find inside this campaign. Lastly, this is an adventure campaign for Delta Green. So if you're a player and your handler has talked about picking this up, maybe they've already picked this up, just haven't started running it yet, I recommend by all means tune out now. I'm going to stay pretty spoiler free here, but as I flip through, you might see some things which ruin some surprises of this campaign. You don't want that to happen. So if you're a player, I definitely recommend tune out now. Now, of course, if your handler is thinking about picking up God's Teeth for Delta Green, by all means, let them know about this video so that they can approach this and make a far more informed buying decision. So the first thing we're going to do is take a look at the credits page. Quite a few people were involved bringing this to life. So let you take a peek at that, give some credit where credit is due. Now, this is a campaign which is broken up over a series of adventures. It takes place over a period from 2001 till pretty much close to the present, around 2020. So I thought that was kind of interesting because it is a modern campaign, essentially, for Delta Green. A lot of times we'll encounter some of the adventures and things like that take place in the 1980s, 1990s. And this actually starts off in the year, it's either 2000 or 2001, and then runs for about 20 years. So at the heart of this campaign is an entity known as the God that feeds. And I'll be the first to tell you, this is a really, really creepy campaign. Very, very creepy. There are a lot of very unsettling set pieces and encounters which take place throughout the various adventures over the 4 parts of this campaign. This is really, really well written. This is very nicely presented. And as far as everything tying together, this is an exceptionally good campaign. But the problem is it deals with some subjects that I do not feel comfortable with at my game table. And it's very important for me to point that out because this is going to be a kind of strange review because I'm not going to give this a review score because I personally would not run God's Teeth with the players at my table. In fact, the reality is myself as a game master would not feel comfortable running this with any sort of players. It doesn't matter if they're my usual group or not. But here's the thing. Just because the topics that are touched upon in this campaign, I'm not comfortable with at my game table, does not necessarily mean that everyone fits into that same category as I do. So that's one of the reasons why I wanted to share this review. I've put this off for a while. I had even informed Arc Dream Publishing that I was not going to review God's Teeth and the reasoning behind it. And they were fine with it. They were like, Jeff, we completely understand. And then I thought, you know what? I don't want to penalize Arc Dream Publishing for what is a really, really excellent campaign just because I wouldn't run it. It's not as if this is just poorly written and things don't stack up or add up or anything like that. No, that is not the case. This is a really, really well-designed campaign. Artwork throughout from Dennis Detwiller is the typical kind of odd, creepy stuff we're used to seeing. So that works really well. It's just that there's things that take place. There are things that are off screen that are kind of core to this campaign, even though it's not something that's going to be gamed out at your table. But there are just things that it's like, I don't want to deal with those kind of things in my adventures that I run. And I will tell you what they are. So it's child abuse, sexual abuse of children, and also abuse of animals. So those three things are just not, the sort of things that I even want to have going on off stage in my role-playing game campaigns that I run. So that's why I would not run this with my usual group of players or pretty much anyone else that I would know. But once again, this is really, really effective at what it's trying to do. There are certain set pieces in this campaign that I find really creepy and really unsettling. And that's what this is shooting for. Something else, as far as the overall arc of this campaign, that I'm not a fan of. I know some folks out there, some players, some game masters will really get into this and find this to be a very memorable campaign. But essentially, it plays out where your agents are kind of pawns in this whole grand scheme. And it's as if they're fated for certain things. And they come to the realization, and this is actually rather Lovecraftian, that they really don't have a say in the matter, that it's things are preordained that are going to take place involving them, and nothing they do matters. And yes, I understand that is very Lovecraftian in its way, even though this really isn't a Lovecraftian entity. This isn't a mythos deity that the player characters are going to be dealing with. In fact, this plays out more along the lines of a law enforcement procedural, with many of the encounters that are going on in this campaign with the supernatural mixed in, as opposed to this being a very Lovecraftian mythos sort of adventure campaign. I will say that there is a lot going on in God's Teeth, and this is a campaign that is going to occupy the handler as well as the players for a good long time. So you are going to get a lot of value out of this book. This is not simply an adventure that's going to take place over 4 different sessions and you're going to be done. Absolutely not. There are ways for the handler to kind of streamline this a little bit as well. So they don't necessarily have to tackle every single aspect of the various different chapters. They can kind of trim things out if they maybe want to run this over a period of a few months, depending on, of course, how often you get together with your group. But then again, there are a lot of really wild, bizarre, unsettling aspects that, depending on your handler as well as your players, maybe don't get skipped over, right? So there is that too. All in all, very well written, very well laid out. Everything ties together really well. Once again, I just have to say, it's just topics that I don't want at my game table. That's it. I mean, that's kind of how it breaks down. But as you can see, production quality throughout, really nicely done. Paper stock, nice and thick. This book is going to hold up really, really well at the game table. All right, that is a peek inside Delta Green, God's Teeth. Let's swing on over to the other camera. I'm going to share some final thoughts. As I mentioned, I'm not going to give this a review score because I always base my review scores upon me running an adventure or a campaign, what have you. I wouldn't run this. But once again, I don't want to penalize Arc Dream Publishing simply because this deals with topics that I don't feel comfortable with at my game table, even if they're off screen. A lot of people out there probably don't have those same qualms as I happen to have. So, as far as an adventure goes, I mean, this is really, really well done. The campaign takes place over a period of almost 20 years. There's a lot going on in the adventures contained within this campaign. So I would normally recommend something like this pretty highly. It's just subject matter that's included in this just isn't something I want tackled at my game table. All right, that is it for this time out. If you like the video, by all means, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you haven't already. And if you do subscribe, don't forget, ring that bell. It'll not only let you know when I share videos such as this review, it'll also inform you when my live stream, the Gaming Gang Dispatch, airs Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday evenings at 7 p.m. right here on YouTube. Of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit gaminggang.com for all latest in tabletop gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more you are not going to find on YouTube. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. Once again, I'm Jeff McAleer. Thank you very much for watching. And until I see you next time, I certainly hope all of you get to enjoy plenty of great gaming with your gang.